Hi, cat. Come and get some mango, baby.
One, two, 1, 2, 3. Self-awareness is a superpower. My name is KathyLaDonna. Welcome to Soul and Vibration. I hope the free thinkers are doing well. And if you're not doing well, I'm happy to remind you that you are the most powerful person that you know. You are the most powerful person that you know because only you can create your reality. Hey guys, today is Saturday, March 16th, and the energies in the day adds up or reduce to number 9 vibration. If today is your birthday, happy birthday. So when it comes to today's energy, Saturn is a strong influence today because it's Saturday, and Saturday is ruled by Saturn energy. And also too, Mars is an influence for today, even Neptune. And reason why Mars, because the energies in the day adds up and reduce to number 9 vibration, and the number 9 deals with some kind of change. Something comes to an end today, or it evolves to the next level, but change is inevitable when it comes to today. And the day is the 16th, the number 1 and the number 6 energy adds up to number 7, brings in that Neptunian energy. But at the same time, we have the sun and we also have Venus, because the number 1 is the sun, the number 6 is Venus. I'm gonna break it all down in a second. When I think of the energies in today, I think of how there is a major need for reflection. The day being the 16th, 1 plus 6 is the number 7. And with the number 7 being ruled by Neptune, Neptune energy is a reflective energy, but we're reflecting on something that has to do with the things that we own, the things that we value, our material world, our titles, our identity, like how people see us, what we've achieved. We're reflecting on anything within those things, and something is coming to an end. We're reflecting on something and getting ready to shift to something else. Something has to come to an end, something has to change. But it is important when it comes to, say, today's energy and us being in this reflective, introspective space that we're in, it's important that we don't make our decisions based on the standards, and not just the standards, but society standards, what it is that you should have by this age, or what you should achieve and where you are opposed to where you're not. I feel like we're reflecting today and we're in an introspective space and we're ready to make changes, but I feel like a lot of our changes can be inspired by what's happening outside of us opposed to what's happening within us. And we have the frog coming out as the spirit animal. And with the frog coming out as a spirit animal, the frog brings me to balance, the importance of balancing the practical and the emotional aspects of things. So when I think of the practical side of things, I think of us looking at, say, society standards as far as what we should achieve or what we should aspire to. But then the spiritual, emotional aspect of things that we might not be looking at today is how a thing makes you feel. I think of, say, how someone might have certain images, and I know, and I've observed this personally and I've experienced this personally, where we have certain visions and goals in our mind to live up to certain things. And we go after it and we achieve it. And then when we're there, we don't feel complete. Some of us might even find ourselves feeling unhappy. And you're confused because it's like, I achieved this major thing that society says that I should achieve, and I achieved it earlier than society said. But at the same time, I'm not happy with it. And then there's a sense of guilt, the feeling of guilt to walk away. Because who am I without this achievement, without this title? And that's where our emotions are important, but we tend to overlook our emotions. And like the frog who will dry up and die without moisture, we eventually start dying slowly because like we don't listen to what it is that we feel or how we feel or the importance of how we feel. I think of that saying where they say, how does it go again? It's like you died before you actually died, or a person stopped living a long time ago. And I feel like we stop living when we stop listening to ourselves, to the way we feel and the way how things make us feel. So it's like a matter of balancing out the practical and the spiritual aspect of things. So for me, a way how I do that is whenever I have some great idea or goal in mind that I want to achieve, I ask myself if the process to achieving that goal and the process to keeping that thing alive, if that's in alignment with me. Meaning the idea of the thing and achieving the physical thing feels good, but at the same time, the process, you will spend way more time in the process. And the time that you spend in the process, will it help you to thrive or will it diminish you? Will it deplete you? I feel like there's something coming up today that one needs to ask themselves. So with the energies of the day being the 16, I feel like today it's about relationship. I think of the idea of the title of saying that, you know, you're married or whatever the thing is, the goal is that you want to achieve when it comes to your relationship status. I think of that lady, Risa Tisa, and I had briefly listened to part of her book, but I didn't know it was going to be so long, and I listened to a brief part and I feel like I got the idea. And she made it clear in the beginning that she saw the red flags, but she wanted to have that ideal situation that is presented to her in movies and on Instagram and on social media and everywhere. She wanted to have that life. So even though she saw the red flags, she overlooked them because the vision of the outcome, you know, was stronger. So I think of like the vision of the outcome in a person's mind while the process is killing them. I feel like something about that is very strong today. Mars, why am I talking about Mars? I guess I was looking at Mars because it's positively aspecting the moon. Mars is in Aquarius and it is trining the moon that is in Gemini. And the moon in Gemini today conjuncts Vesta. So we are passionate at the idea of friends and connecting with those within our familiar local circle. So to me, today's that day where it's like we feel nurtured at the thought of, I've known this person since middle school, since elementary school. I feel like the inner world, the moon, is in a place where we reflect more on seniority than we do on the reality of how something makes us feel. Today's energy with where the moon is brings me to the thought of someone saying, I've invested too much in this relationship to let it go, even if it's killing me, even though people don't really think about that part, even if it's killing them. But, you know, that's the kind of energy that I get from that. And I don't know the whole Risa Tisa situation, but I think about how sometimes we see all the red flags in the beginning, and we see the red flags in the beginning and we still try to force the situation and force the person to be something that they're not. And then when things get to the point where it's unbearable, then we try to play the victim. I'm not saying that's what's happened in the Risa Tisa situation because I never finished it to know, and I'm not saying that's the case with her. But I observe that all the time, and I've even seen that in myself, where it's like I try to force a situation, and then when it doesn't go my way, then somehow I'm able to see how I was done wrong, when from jump, like, people are pretty consistent. People are pretty consistent in who they are, but for whatever reason, we overlook who they show up as consistently and instead try to force them into being something else. And eventually, you know, when we realize that we can't, it's like, this person's an awful person, and there might be truth to that, but at the end of the day, they've been consistent. So when it comes to today's energy brings me to that. I look at the square being made to the moon between Venus conjunct Saturn in Pisces and the Sun conjunct Neptune in Pisces. So to me, the square being made to the moon brings me to introspection. It's like I think of how our intuition levels the playing field every time. And this is why I say someone cannot lie to me. Someone cannot lie to you without your permission. It's like for whatever reason, there's something that we need to believe about the lie because it benefits us in some way to believe the lie, even when our intuition is saying run for your life. The energies in the day adds up or reduce to number 9 vibration. The number 9 is very similar to Gemini in the sense that when the number 9 is operating in a lower vibration, it doesn't like change. And with Gemini energy, we could find ourselves sticking to the evil that we know when evil is evil, but the idea of familiarity is where we feel safe. So even when something is familiar but destructive, we will figure out a way to try to make it work. We will figure out a way how to numb ourselves and not feel whatever it is that is telling us to get up out of here. It's time for a change. So I feel like something about change is amplified today. And amplified in the sense that, change is trying to happen. It's a matter of, will we embrace the change or will we, keep going in a cycle? And in order for us to keep going in a cycle, we have to numb ourselves. In certain cases, people have to self-medicate themselves in order to keep the thoughtless, the mindless cycle going. And I feel like the number 9 and Gemini, when operating in a lower vibration, those energies will keep the mindless cycle going. And with today being the 16th, I think of a person thinking about, reflecting deeply on the changes that need to be made. But the thing that will come up the most is, what will people say? What will people think? Or not wanting to make someone right and, announce that I'm moving on or I'm not doing this or not doing that. It's like, I don't want to make them right, so I'm going to fight harder. I think of a situation where someone, is fighting. It's like fighting for something that isn't any good for you, but not wanting to make others right. So you hold on. And we have the 9 of Cups here in the reversal position. And the 9 of Cups in the reversal position brings me to the feeling of like a wish not fulfilled, where someone might be crying in their beer or, escaping reality for the simple fact that something didn't happen for them. But trust and believe, rejection is the creator's protection. When something appears to not be working for you, it's because, there's something better out there for you. And also too, we probably already gained the experiences that we need to gain within that situation. So it's time now to move forward. So with this 9 of Cups in the reversal position, some of you could find yourself feeling robbed, feeling like it's not fair that this thing is taken or this thing is leaving or it's time to move on. But really, it's the best thing for you. It's the best thing for you. And for me, whenever things happen and whenever I make mistakes, I always ask myself, what did I learn from this? Because as long as I learned something, it wasn't a mistake, it was a lesson. And I feel like that's something to reflect on today. Because, today might be a day where some is asking themselves, like, how to force a toxic situation to work, how to force a situation that's not working to work because it fits an ideal vision that one has in their mind. But when it comes to today's energy, it's like no matter how we fight, change is inevitable. And what I like about Saturn ruling the day, Saturn is a demolition type energy. Mars is moving things along. So with Saturn and Pisces, we can't pretend to, it's like with Saturn energy today and Mars, it's like you can't unsaw what you saw. You can't act like you don't know what you know now. Maybe without Saturn there, we can have the experience and then have the experience that clearly says it's time to go. the experience broke our heart, we're sad, we're disappointed, but briefly something shifts our frequency and we start fantasizing about the good times in the relationship to the point that we overlook everything that has happened that is a red flag that says run. Saturn energy in Pisces won't allow us to paint over the red flags. Saturn energy in Pisces won't allow us to deceive and lie to ourselves. It's like we can't unsee what we saw. So with the energies in today, it brings me to, it's like something's coming to an end or evolving to the next level. And normally if we had it our way, we would figure out a way to force a thing to work when it isn't working, where today it's like we have to accept the fact. That's what I'm getting with today's energy, having to accept the fact of something. Hence why, some of us might feel like something has been, like a rug has been pulled from up under our feet. But we have to ask ourselves and be honest about this thing that feels like it's been taken from us. This is where when we sit and we reflect on the relationship and ask ourselves what am I going to lose from losing this relationship? What's the worst that can happen now that this relationship is over? Now that I've moved on from this thing, that thing, or the next, now that I've decided to give up the house or give up the car or whatever material thing you're fighting to hold on to keep your image up. Once you decided to walk away and accept the reality of how things were when you were there, you might realize that yes, it was a beautiful home, or yes, it was a nice car, but damn, I was so stressed out from the moment I was there, because every month, the responsibilities or the different things that came up or whatever, with the car, maybe, it needed things and it needed fixing or whatever it needed. And it's like every time that happened, you found yourself stressed out. And it's like, yes, you'll have to downsize in some way or step away from something, and you no longer have the status and the title of a thing, but you have peace. But you have peace is what I'm getting. So it's almost like this loss that some people might be struggling with. It's the loss is perceived loss. But if you really look around at your world, like you've gained so much, and even shift your frequency once you've accepted the situation, shift your frequency in a better place to the point where you can achieve so much more. So you're appearing to take a step back, but you're actually launching forward. But you have to accept this step back and learn from the situation, so you're not stuck in another cycle doing the same things over and over again, expecting and hoping for a different result. Such a pleasure sharing this message with you. Hey guys, I want to share with you 7 benefits of getting a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session. The first one is understanding your internal programming. The second one is becoming more clear about your purpose and passion. The third is setting goals for success. The fourth is awareness of strength and areas of improvement. And the fourth one was foundational for me, because whenever you're aware of your weaknesses, no one can use them against you. And when you're aware of your strengths, that makes you unstoppable. And that is why I say self-awareness is a superpower. The fifth benefit is removing obstacles. We first have to become aware of a thing in order to remove it in the first place. The sixth benefit is understanding relationship dynamics. We don't have to change the people in our lives. We have to become aware of ourselves and start from there, and everything changes. And the seventh benefit is upcoming transits, if that's something that you would like to look into because you're planning for something or you just want to be aware. So if you're interested in booking a numerology natal chart awareness coaching session or learning more about it, the link to book or the link to send me an email for questions are both within the description box below. If you'd like to check out my Patreon, where I share exclusive content, and also to become a part of the meetup group, which is my favorite thing on Patreon, the link to check out what's happening on Patreon is in the description box below. Please let me know you're here with me by dropping me a brown heart in the comment box below. I would love to hear from you and look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love yourself as if your life depended on it, because it does. Take care of yourself, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.